I had to get some water and cut this air on. It was getting a little toasty. You know what I'm saying? Anyways. All righty. Let's get it started. And are we gonna is Boom Shakalaka gonna be tradition, or are we rebranding that as well? Is that
No, I was just about to boom the shakalaka.
Yeah, I was gonna say we should keep that one.
Yeah, I like it.
get t-shirts made? Okay.
Yeah, it reminds me of NBA jams.
Absolutely.
Juneteenth is coming up.
He's on fire.
All right, let's see if on the internet if we can do it all at the same time on the count of three. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Boom shakalaka.
Boom shakalaka.
I knew it was gonna be 3 different times. I knew it. All right.
Top of the world. Top of the world. Yeah, top of the world. Top of the world. Yeah, top of the world. Top of the world. Yeah, top of the world. Top of the world. Yeah, top of the world.
Well, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Worst Ones podcast. This is the podcast for PKs, preachers' kids, pastors' kids, anybody who is considered the worst. Yeah, we're here, and this is what we do. I'm Rudy Wilson, trade the golden ticket, whatever that means. Janessa Rowland, a.k.a. Janessa Honor Rowland. We got Terry.
Deansless Rowland.
We got Terry Wayne, a.k.a. Terry Weezy.
Keep trying to fancy her up.
We are all PKs. Kellie Leezy is usually with us, but apparently she got sick off of something that she ate at the last minute. I don't know what she ate because I didn't stay away from it.
I think she ate other plans. That's what I think. I think she ate time with her man. That's what I think.
I'm not gonna say that thought didn't cross my mind.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, I definitely thought it, but I thought I was just being a dirtbag. I was going to bring it up, but since everybody else is thinking, let's
no, it's pretty obvious, you know, when it's last minute, you know.
Rudy, also you're breaking up real bad for me. I don't know about Terry.
breaking up
Yes,
as far as like the microphone, or breaking up as far as like my connection is when you see me.
The connection.
Yeah, we are just a mess this week.
Oh, I don't know, man. Y'all are clear to me.
Well, as I said, I am babysitting, so it's not just preacher's kids tonight; it's preacher's grandkids as well. Because my nephews, I'm looking after them tonight. So different Wi-Fi network, but we're gonna make it work.
Gotcha. Is my audio at least clear?
It is for me now. It was choppy before, but now it's better.
Okay.
I think the lack of video is helping. That's the one that usually takes up the most bandwidth.
Okay. Well, Mr. Bandwidth Saver, how art thou?
Yep. Thou is great. Just got a new couch for my new place.
There you go.
Yep. Still no luck on, Terry Wayne III, but we're working at it.
Gotcha. Still shooting the club up.
Yep. I'm not gonna actually name a kid that. By the way, I hate my name so much.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah. It's just it's a unisex name, so it was not very easy in high school.
Did you go by Terry Wayne or just Terry in high school?
Just Terry, and that was my mistake. I should have gone by Wayne, but you know, you make mistakes and you figure it out.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, Terry's a little scarred today, still from high
No.
school.
No, I'm just saying I'm not gonna take that and put it on a new kid.
Right. No, I got you. No, I don't want to name my kid Ruel. So, you know,
What's
get it.
wrong with Ruel?
I mean,
Yeah, I just learned that, by the way.
most it seems like pretty much everybody else in life likes that name except me. Like I try to hide it as much as possible for
I
whatever
like
reason.
it.
Well, it's like I say in my act. It's like if you're trying to, like, you know, get into a new group of dudes and they're like, I'm Rick, I'm James, I'm Tom, I'm Terry. It just sounds. You don't end a name in a vowel if you're a dude. So, but I guess Ruel. That's,
Or
Rudy.
Rudy.
or Rudy. Yeah.
I was like, Rudy.
Yeah, but it
Definitely.
just doesn't. It sounds effeminate, you know.
Rudy's definitely unisex.
Yeah.
For sure.
What? No.
You never watched the Cosby Show?
Wow.
Oh yeah,
Oh, hey.
Rudy. Yeah.
Definitely unisex, but either way. All right, we're taking too long on our intro. Sorry, Risa.
Oh.
All right, Janessa, how you doing?
I'm good. Had a good Memorial Day weekend. I went to a Great Gatsby's themed birthday party over the weekend, so that was fun getting to play dress up.
Okay.
And we did my brother's graduation party over the weekend. He actually just got on a flight last night to go to South Africa for 3 weeks. So
Oh wow.
he did make it. We got a text saying he made it over there. So yeah, we did a little graduation party for him, and then he just went to Africa, and back in school, work, same old, same old. Oh, ozone season starts tomorrow, so let's all collectively say a prayer that the systems work and just it function and yeah.
What happens if it doesn't?
My life is stressful.
Okay. All right. Well, if that's the case, then yeah, sure. I just thought all of Atlanta just goes up.
No.
It sounds very official.
It is, but it will not cause the city to go up in flames.
Gotcha. Okay.
Well, Rudy, how are you?
Rudy? Yeah, we did it at the same time. There you go.
Wonderful. I'm always good.
Where are you today?
I'm in Tampa. I'm just at the podcast studio. On the other side, across from me, is the painting for the podcast that you all despise.
I was about to say, so you are at the podcast Worst One's office. Yes.
I mean,
yes.
I don't know if there's any light blue around here anywhere, but
listen, if I have to go pin a poster.
There's definitely the church's initials, at least in the beginning ministry.
That's fine. I'm not jealous. I don't care.
Podcast official Worst One's office.
Well, you forget I have another podcast too. So,
but you're not promoting it behind your wall decor.
No. That's called synergy in the corporate world. We're just all working together.
Well, I mean, as far as how I'm doing, I'm pretty much just doing that podcast a lot. So and I also hate my name Ruel. So that's
okay. Just hating names and promoting podcasts. All right, that was good.
That's it.
Very.
I did see the new Little Mermaid.
Oh, I haven't seen it yet. How is it?
I watched it on bootleg. I'm gonna go see it in the theater just to help support. But it was available at the time, and I was like, you know what? Let me just go ahead and you know what I'm saying, since I'm sitting here. let me just go ahead.
Support Sister Hallie.
I'm gonna go give her my little matinee money. I don't pay full price now. I got to go matinee.
I love a matinee. My favorite is when you go into the movie and it's daytime, and then you come out and it's nighttime, and you get that little shock of like, oh yeah, that's right.
Oh no, that ain't matinee enough for me. I'm going when I go in, it's daytime. When I come out, it's daytime.
I want to go at 10 a.m. 11.
Yeah, I get the first show.
That's crazy. That's crazy talk.
That's when I love to go. I don't want
how
nobody
you
else.
gonna eat popcorn and candy at 10 a.m.?
You must not know about me. You must not know about me.
You eat breakfast done, Terry. A whole breakfast. Stick it in your purse.
Are you serious? I eat worse than that at 10 a.m. You talking about popcorn and candy?
That is not breakfast foods.
It's not. It's not. I know. You're not going to the movies every morning. It's just going on that particular day. So when you go on that particular day, you go.
That's too early. I like a nice 1:30. You know,
because people gonna start coming at that time. I want it early. First quarter.
So you want the theater to yourself. That's the whole.
I want the same person. The same person who
theater.
The same person who I bought my ticket from is the same person who had to go and tear it for me and then get behind the counter and serve me popcorn. I wanted to be that early.
I'm with you. I just saw Fast X last Friday at 10 a.m.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that.
And it was like 3 of us in there.
That's perfect.
Chick-fil-A.
That's perfect.
All right. I'm trying not to be closed-minded. I'm gonna try it. You know.
That's perfect.
I can try to give everything a chance. I don't think I'm gonna like it.
Little Mermaid was lit though.
Okay. I need to see it.
Yeah.
I have not watched one of those Disney remakes, and I will not. And I have Disney Plus. I can watch them anytime I want to. But you know,
and that's what I was gonna say. The one thing
you're not gonna shit all over my childhood Disney. I'm not gonna allow it.
The one thing I enjoyed about the Little Mermaid the most is that they stayed the most consistent. Like where they've messed up, at least in my opinion, in the past with like the Lion King, Aladdin, stuff like that. They try to take the same story, but create these new little narratives inside of the story that we didn't hear about before. You know what I'm saying? And it kind of like makes it kind of as opposed to just making the movie that we love in a more realistic format or whatever. That's just not a drawn cartoon. That's what I'd be wanting to see. And Little Mermaid catered more to that as opposed to trying to make this whole new story. You know what I'm saying? Like they kept it consistent, kept the songs consistent. You know what I'm saying? Like it was, but it looked aesthetically, it looked great. You know what I'm saying? So it was dope.
I have a different theory. It's Disney is running out of ideas and they're cashing in on their known properties.
Well, that has nothing to do with what I'm talking about. I'm just saying in reference to them trying to change the story up. They can run out of ideas and keep remaking all they want to, but I'm saying in reference to how they approached it. To me, I think they kind of learned from their past mistakes. Because like the Lion King made over $1 billion, but a lot of people were displeased after watching it. But we all went because it's the Lion King. You want to see.
That's exact. I love the Lion King, which is exactly why I will not watch that movie.
Don't see the Lion King.
No, I'm not going to.
They messed that one up.
I could watch that tonight.
Yeah.
I'm not doing that. I'm not doing Beauty and the Beast. I'm not doing Little Mermaid.
They remade Color Purple too.
Did they?
Yeah. It's coming out.
Well, my thing about the Little Mermaid was that whole controversy. I tell jokes about it on stage when they first announced it. They're like, "Oh, Ariel's going to be, black this time," and the usual people got all upset and be like, "Oh, that's not the way it's supposed to be." And I'm like, dude, it's a fictional creature. The mermaids don't exist either. Did you know that? It's not real.
Yeah, no, I feel you. I mean, if Little Mermaid was originally black, you best believe niggas would go crazy if they try to make her white.
But
we'd be fighting that like, what? Little Mermaid was black. Y'all gonna try to change to a white girl? You best believe we would have been flipped out. But we can.
And not only that, I didn't like the casting choice. If you were gonna go that way, I think Zendaya would have been a much better choice to play Ariel.
Oh, as far as trying to be like catering to everybody.
No, I meant like if you're gonna go a different way with Ariel, I thought Zendaya has the perfect face, hair, body type, everything to play that part. Plus, I love Zendaya.
Yeah, but Zendaya can't sing like that. Yeah, she can't sing like that though. She got a better singer. Ariel was, this is singing Little Mermaid. This ain't no.
Yeah, but everybody who's in those movies, most of them don't sing their own parts.
But this is a real life version, so it's not about like the voice, of a character. It's the real person. So the real person got to be able to sing, and Halle can sing.
That is not how it works, but okay.
Are you serious?
Yeah, there's a lot of live action movies where the Zendaya was in that Greatest Showman movie. She didn't sing her own parts in that.
But she didn't have to sing no serious part. Like we knew Halle can sing. Why not get a person who can not only act but actually can sing?
I mean, look, I'm agreeing with you on that part. I'm just saying if I had my casting, I feel like we're burning a lot of time here.
I mean, we got a lot of time to burn. Kelly's not here. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Yeah, that's true. That's true. No, I'm just saying, like, if I would have had my casting, but I would have cast her in a lot of things. I just like the actress.
Yeah. Nah, Halle, she was perfect. Trust me. After seeing it, she fitted good.
Well, I'll never know because I am not supporting this.
Yeah, they did that one good, and Lady and the Tramp. Lady and the Tramp was pretty good. But anyways,
like the live action remakes. Nah. I'm gonna die on this hill. Principle.
Okay. So the we got the passing of the pastoral torch. We want this even kind of I ain't gonna say ties into the subject matter, but I know we kind of were talking about in the group chat talking about what is that?
What is what?
Y'all don't hear that?
No, just you, buddy. No. You gonna be all right?
Nah, it don't stop now, but I definitely heard it, and I thought. So y'all don't hear that right now.
I hear it.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. Like, I know I'm not tripping.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely some smacking in the background. Like
I don't know what it is.
I know what it is. I just wanted to gaslight Rudy for a minute.
Somebody, am I gonna be all right?
No, it's my sister's dogs walking around. It's the nails on the thing. I just want to gaslight Rudy and make him think he's crazy.
No, you definitely ain't gonna make me think that. I know what I'm hearing. But anyway, so the passing of the pastoral torch. I was saying in the group chat we were talking about the we had brought up Sarah Jakes Roberts as far as her whole situation. I guess I won't really bring it up because I don't know if we're gonna talk about it later in another segment or whatever. But as far as with her, I know she's definitely a person who just say is kind of stepping into the role of being the pastor of her father's church. Same thing with Bishop Paul's daughter and Jasmine and her husband, and other people, so on and so forth. Like that, there is, especially as these preachers are getting older, a passing of the torch that's happening. At least with some of them. Some people, they take that to the grave. They're gonna be the pastor until, you know what I'm saying? They're gonna pass the torch from the cemetery. You know what I'm saying? So, but there is a passing of the torch, and even like with Bishop James Morton, you know what I'm saying? Like he was in the process of passing the torch while and then passed while been in the process of passing the torch. So it's definitely a thing. So I guess the question was more or less, maybe I guess when should this start for preachers? And I guess maybe how should they go about it? Should they always look towards, one of their children, or should it be, to take over, or should it, they look out, elsewhere, or I don't know. What's your guys' thoughts?
My dad never put any pressure on me whatsoever. I think he just looked at me and said, I don't see it in you, but not in a bad way, just being like, I don't think this is for you.
Right.
So he never put any pressure on me, even though I had kind of imagined,
You kind of imagined it?
Well, yeah, I probably imagined, that, he would want me to take over for him, but no, we've talked about it several times. He thinks I'm on the path for me.
But what about just pastors just passing the torch in general? Like when should that start? Like, what's your thoughts in reference to that?
I would do it if it was up to me. And because I do think there's always a time to put it down, that whole I'm going to go out, go down with the ship, die with my boots on kind of a thing. I don't think that's right for anybody in any profession. I think everybody deserves to, once they reach a certain age, to, not have to work until you're dead, kind of a thing. But I would do it if I had to do it. I would do it kind of like the cops do it, where you bring on your rookie, but then you stay with them for a year, and if they make it through that year, then they kind of get how everything goes and feels it out, and then after that year, then you do it. Then you back out and you say, all right, next generation.
Janessa?
Well, I think a couple of things. I think, when should that transition process, or whatever we're going to call it, start? I think it should start before you become the pastor. I think I know a couple of churches that.
What do you mean before you become the pastor? Phasing out should happen before you become the pastor?
No. That there be some type of plan in place.
You talking about for the person that's trying to take over, or not trying to take over, but that's in place to take over?
Yes, and for all subsequent pastors afterwards, like there should be some set of policies or structure that states how that's going to go. I think a lot of churches do pull from the inside. Sometimes they do go outside, but I think it might depend on the size of the church, and the denomination as well. But I think if you have that in place, I also like that structure in place, that okay, the pastor is going to retire at whatever age, or at whenever he's unable to fulfill his duties, whatever the stipulation is.
Right.
And then I think, like Terry, there should be some type of transition phase. I've seen it where sometimes, like the main pastor will be called the senior pastor. And then like the pastor that preaches on Sunday might be like the executive pastor, or some other term. Maybe do something like that to help transition it over. I think the main pastor keeping senior pastor until he passes away or she passes away, I don't have a problem with that. And then there be that title transition. That way, that pastor's still a part of the church, whether he has like voting abilities or not, that can be put in the bylaws or whatever. But I think in terms of like helping with the transition, helping molding that person, having those two structures or figures there together in a unified front is important.
Well, like
I know. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead. You had something else?
No, because I was going to talk about something else later.
Oh, well, like when my dad started back in like I don't know, 78, 77, something like that. You know what they did when he said, "Hey, he went to his church. He said, I'm called to preach. What do I have to do?" And they said, "Okay, well, we're gonna give you the 3 to 5 year olds." And that's what they did. They put him in the well, they had 2 different kinds of Sunday school, one for like the teenagers and then one for like the kids. And that's what they gave him. They gave him the kids. And they said, "All right, now you can preach to them." And he stayed there and he did it for months and months and months. Then they gave him, I think, like Wednesday nights every once in a while. Then they gave him Sunday nights every once in a while. And I think after about a year of doing all of those things, they finally said, "Okay, now you get the big show." So it's kind of like working your way up to it,
Yeah, and I think that even goes into another point that our producer brought up, in reference to like how the congregation, will react to a new pastor. Because I think no matter what, at least in my opinion, I think no matter what, like some people gonna leave. You know what I'm saying? When there's a new pastor, just because certain things will be ran differently, even if there's internal, leaving, or even if there's people who are just kind of more just only in the congregation and not necessarily in a leadership role or staff role or whatever. Um, because like somebody who takes over may do things a little bit different. They may run a tighter ship, you know what I'm saying, than the pastor beforehand, or a looser ship than the pastor beforehand, or the pastor, beforehand always had this person second in command. Now they done made this person second in command. You know what I'm saying? So there's a lot of I think things that a pastor who's passing the torch has to kind of consider, as well as and even maybe even understand that this person who they pass the torch to can deal with that level of, just say, scrutiny, pressure, et cetera, et cetera. Preaching styles may be different. You know what I'm saying? Like, what if, just say, if it's a father son situation and the father preach more, fire and brimstone, you know what I'm saying, but then now the son coming in talking about, whipping and nay and in his sermon, you know what I'm saying, and you know what I'm saying, and now now it's the old folks like, man, what is this? We need Bishop back, you know what I'm saying? So like there's a lot of things that that you have to consider, but I do think a passing of the torch thing. I mean, I never really thought about it too much until more recent times, especially as a lot of these pastors and bishops and preachers and stuff who were, who have been, just say, preachers our whole lives. You know what I'm saying? Like I've literally not known Bishop T.D. Jakes as anything else but Bishop T.D. Jakes. Like he was on TV when I was a kid. You know what I'm saying? Like he was already. I didn't see him at his beginning stages when he was reverend or whoever. Like he, you know what I'm saying? So like my whole life, or even the preachers we know, the Bishop Moores, the whoever, like they have been who they are to me my whole life. So now to see them older and either passing away and or just passing the torch, it's very interesting. It's very interesting. Even just to think about, having your affairs in order. You know what I'm saying? Like, when you pass away, like, or I'm not pass away, but when you retire, like, is there some type of retirement plan? Is there some type of like, is there a setup for even what you were saying, like the certain rules or whatever for each pastor to phase out? Like, is there something that builds to set them up where they have a pension or whatever it is, you know what I'm saying, when they retire? You know what I'm saying? Like I never really thought about none of that type of stuff. And I don't even know if I really even thought about how Bishop or anybody got paid, you know what I'm saying, especially not growing up. Like I don't know if I really thought about it, you know what I'm saying? Like I never thought about him living in a hostel, or thought about him living in a just whatever. I just these are just things I never really considered until more or less now, and I guess now that it's more relevant in my mind, I don't know. I guess I'm more interested. It's more interesting to watch the process unfold. I guess more than me actually having an opinion about when it should happen, because I think I'm seeing it in real time. Because there are some people who are the same age as these preachers who I'm talking about who don't seem to be transitioning. Like I don't see them bringing up nobody. They still going strong. They on Facebook still doing the little, I want to welcome you to my church, listen to this sermon type. They still doing that. Old, pushing glasses up. You know what I'm saying? But then
but what you were saying before about
there's some people who's phasing in somebody else. Go ahead.
Hey y'all, sorry to interrupt, but we have a few church announcements. Follow us on Instagram at The Worst Ones PK. New content coming soon. We also have a TikTok at The Worst Ones PK. No content yet, but continue to check us out. If you want to, when you listen to our podcast, you can find us on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, wherever you find your podcast. Just make sure you type in The Worst Ones Podcast and you'll find us. And when you get there, make sure you like, you comment, you subscribe, and you share. Thank you to our 500,000
422 followers. We love you so much. Now, back to the show.
You were saying before about losing members. I would like to think at least that if you're stepping away, you could at least pick your own successor. And I would like to think that these people are intelligent enough to go, oh, I need to get somebody who's in the same style as me so that they're not going to come up here and talk about whipping and nay or whatever you're talking about.
But I think that's inevitable because times are going to change. Like you know what I'm saying? Like preachers who were raised in the 20s are going to preach different than the ones raised in the 50s, than the ones raised in the 80s, and the ones raised in the 2000s. Like you're going to come from different. You're going to preach the same, just say messages, but they're just different. You feel what I'm saying? Like it's going to be different delivery, different. You know, because you got a different audience now. Like some churches come from being more old and traditional to being a younger church. You know what I'm saying? Some just stay old churches, you know what I'm saying? And they lose a lot of young members. You know what I'm saying? So I mean I think it's all about having a vision of where you want your church to go next to know who to pass it to, because if you don't mind it going the younger route, you know what I'm saying, then you don't mind putting somebody who's whipping and naying, you know what I'm saying? But if you want it to kind of stay a more traditional route, you'll probably have to pass it more lateral than down. Somebody who, you know, who's been the co-pastor or the whatever pastor for 20 years, you know, by your side or whatever. And it's just more or less you pass it to somebody who's probably 5 years younger than you as opposed to 20 to 30 years younger, which to me don't really make sense because eventually that person is going to die or retire. You know what I'm saying? So it's you might as well just pass it to somebody who's younger and just trust that they're going to take it in a spiritual way that's still pleasing to God, but it's just going to be now their way, you know what I'm saying, as opposed to what you did.
Yeah, but again, like you're talking about fire and brimstone, like that's kind of like my dad was right on that edge. When he speaks, it's very passionate, right?
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't imagine him stepping down and saying, okay, I'm going to let this soft-spoken guy come in here and take over for me. I just couldn't imagine that. Even if he was, quote unquote, the next in line or whatever, I couldn't imagine him, But I mean, I guess that's a point. Like if you've got if you've got like that co-pastor or, somebody you've been working with a long time, you might feel that pressure, but in the, end of the day, you got to do what's best for the congregation, So
yeah,
I would like to believe that they would, just pick the right person as opposed to the next person. But
yeah,
I've been wrong before.
So real quick, I didn't hear a bunch of what either of y'all said because it kept going in and freezing, but I did hear some of it. So the part I was gonna say something about was having a vision. Mm-hmm. So I agree with you, Rudy. I think it's important that the church have a vision before the pastor transitions. Mm-hmm. And, hopefully the whole church can be on board. It could be a whole campaign, mm-hmm. or something. Mm-hmm. Because people are going to leave. But then also people may join. And I think this sounds really kind of harsh. So it's not meant to be harsh. But you never want to just have to leave, a place you've known and loved for a long period of time. Mm-hmm. But I think at this point in life, there are so many more options that, mm-hmm. You could find another place if mm-hmm. you didn't like it. Mm-hmm. And the new people who might be attracted to that church, they'll join if they're, if that's where they feel like they're meant to be. Mm-hmm. And so I think somebody's calling. Yeah. I think
I heard the buzzing.
Yes, I don't even know who it is, but I was gonna say, oh Lord, now I lost my train of thought. Well,
all right.
So, were you going to a democratic place where you were maybe the church members should choose who the succeeding pastor is? No.
Don't remember.
Well, even to that point, Terry, I think that could be kind of safe, kind of dangerous. You know what I'm saying? Kind of teetering that line as far as the members choosing the next pastor, because that could be a popularity contest. That could be I mean, and even if the pastor choosing, it could be him just choosing, he or she choosing their favorite. So I mean, a lot of it does take integrity, but I think that any pastor who's actually thinking about, I want what God has allowed me to build for these how many years to continue. You know what I'm saying? To at least sustain what we have, if not grow from here. So I'm gonna put somebody who I feel like God is telling me, okay, this is the person. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm gonna trust, and go that way. But what I did want to ask both of y'all, and Janessa, I guess you can. I want y'all to. Well, I guess really both of you. I want y'all to choose somebody who's not your father, because I'm, your father may have been your pastor at one point in time, but if a pastor who, well, I guess we can answer it for both, but let's start with a pastor who's not your father that you were under. Like, if that pastor just say, like, was passing the torch, while you were, in the thick of things, like not who you are now and today, but I'm saying, like, back in the day when we were at New Beginning or whatever, just say, Bishop was whatever, and then just say, like, if he passed the torch to somebody else, like, do you think, like, you would want to still stay? Or do you feel like, you're more or less, you would be more attached to the pastor who you kind of grew up under, if you will?
Well, that's a tough question for this particular group, just because, like, even if your father steps away, he's still your pastor. You know what I mean?
I said not your father.
I understand that, but you're saying if it was somebody else, would I still go?
I'm saying, like, so my father hasn't been my pastor my whole life. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's not like he was my pastor, like, from the day I was born. So I grew up.
Yeah, but he's been mine. You see what I'm saying?
I understand that, but that's what that. But that. So if you can't answer from that perspective, I mean, that's fine. But I know Janessa has experienced, I guess, the same type of experience that I'm talking about in reference to, like, growing up under a pastor. And I know, like, with me, I don't know how I would have felt like if he would have retired while I was, still growing up in that church. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if I have the power to leave, because my parents would be the determining factor of that. But I may still have, felt some type of way, because there was an attachment to him. You feel what I'm saying? Like, there was,
right,
to some degree. So go ahead, Janessa.
I don't know. I was thinking about when we left New Beginning and my dad became the pastor of New Piney Grove. I did not want to go to New Piney Grove.
Mm-hmm.
I argued and fought and did not want to be there. We had a deal that on fifth Sundays, my dad would go to early morning at New Beginning and I could go. And so for four times a year, I knew I got to see my friends at least four times. But
you weren't doing that because of the pastor. You're doing that because your friends are.
But I was saying all that to say, because I had such a strong attachment to Pastor or Bishop Morton and the church. I think it was a combination, because that was the only pastor I knew. I was born into Thankful with Bishop. So, like, who else was it? You know, and then like the Lees and the who's the pastor of Marlon Harris and all those people, they weren't who really they were at that point either in the pastor game. So just knowing I had such a strong attachment as a kid when we moved to New Piney Grove, like, I would be inclined to say, like, I would be feeling some type of way. I would really feel some type of way. I probably would stay for a little bit and see what was up, because if it was lit, then cool. But I'm sure if it wasn't, I would eventually leave. But at the same time, it would have also been contingent upon my parents, because like, you tell them no. Like,
right.
Try Jesus. Don't try them. You know.
Right. But I would have expressed like, "Well, Mom, I'm not happy here. I'm no longer happy. I don't know about you. I'm no longer.
Yeah. So I don't know.
I'm doing this under protest.
I was strongly attached as a child, so
no, for sure. Yeah, I think I've expressed it on this podcast before, but when the Andrew boys first left, I never forget because they were the first group of people that, like, as far as youth, that like moved away. You know what I'm saying? Like, and they wasn't even like moving because their dad was passing. I think he had already passed by this time, but just them moving away. And I remember thinking to myself, like, oof, I don't never want that to be me. Like, I don't want to move away from this. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to be one of the kids that can lead this church. Little did I know my time was coming. You know what I'm saying? When my dad, started his church. But like, I remember feeling that. So I know that same feeling. Even like seeing y'all leave, seeing the McCoys leave, seeing the different people. I'm just like, ooh, well, I don't want to be them. Like, I don't want to leave. And then lo and behold, my turn came. So I feel that. I feel that because there's definitely an attachment to the pastor, for sure. Like, I think even without just say making them the idol or putting them on too high of a pedestal, they are a part of why you will go to a church. You know what I'm saying? It's their ministry, it's their leadership, it's their teaching style, it's their whatever about them, even if it's just because they know how to woo the crowd and make you feel good. Whatever it is, it's something about them that's drawing you to that church. It's not just,
you mean like a popularity contest.
I mean, yeah, sure, but I'm saying, but not even for the person who we're trying to pass the torch to. I'm saying for the person who has the torch, it's already a popularity contest. So when you're now passing that torch, like you said, I don't know if you got to necessarily pass it to the next most popular person, but definitely a person who can, keep principles, but just like I said, but then they can still do it their way where the church will at least sustain what they have, if not grow. But I think that's probably the one of the more scarier parts for a pastor to pass the torch, because it's like, who's going to, because sometimes you could pass something to somebody younger than you and they get a little too young. You know what I'm saying? Like, it'd be a little too worldly mixed with churchy. You know what I'm saying? Like crossing that, like older people feel like you teetering that line. You know what I'm saying? And it could be a little touchy feely. You know what I'm saying? But yeah,
well, everybody knows you got to keep the older members happy. That's what keeps the lights on, because they're there every week. They're always pay their tithes. Those are dedicated members. The younger the member, the looser they are. You don't know.
But that's why I was just talking to my dad not too long ago about like us having a second service, because we only got one service, but like majority of our church membership is definitely, I ain't gonna say old, like elderly. They not like 70s and nothing, but they definitely late 50s, early 60s. That's like the bulk of the group. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, it's kind of hard to please them and the group you want us to bring in. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's two different church taste. You feel me? So if we have a second service, you can give the blood of Jesus first service. You know what I'm saying? And then second service, you bring your little Maverick City or whatever the case may be, and then you balance everything out. But trying to do both of them together. I mean, because I remember growing up in church, that was a hard mesh when we was Mary first coming out, Kurt Frank and all this stuff. Like, church folk were looking at them crazy. They were looking, Mary and Beyonce was the same category in some church folk now. You know what I'm saying? Same category back in the day.
But you got to take care of the older members. Those are your bedrock, because everybody knows you get way more into God the closer you are to meeting Him. Everybody knows that.
Hey, what I'm saying, but that's hard to market what the old people want to a younger crowd. And
I agree.
You know what I'm saying? That and I'm saying, so even passing the torch, that's what I'm saying is you have to have a clear vision, because if you're saying, okay, I definitely want the old people or whatever, then you have to pass it to somebody younger than you who has that older mindset. You know what I'm saying? But if you pass it to somebody who has a younger mindset, you best to believe your church is gonna look a little different than when you was the pastor. You just got to accept.
I kind of like what you said, that early morning Sunday service, that one that starts at 8:30, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, go old school on that one, because the old people, they get up early, they're there early.
Absolutely.
Right. And then maybe tell them, like, hey, we're going to do something different at 11 if you want to stick around.
Something totally different. Right.
Yeah. We're going to talk about all kinds of new stuff.
Right. You feel me? So it's a yeah. I like I said, but even just I guess to kind of close my little argument out to even what I said earlier, I definitely never really even thought about this whole passing the torch thing until recently, as I'm seeing the TD Jakes, the Paul Mortons, the Bishop James Mortons, the so on and so forth. Like, I mean, even my dad, like, I don't know who he planned on passing the torch to, because I mean we ain't never had that conversation, but even he himself talks about, like, yo, I ain't gonna be doing this forever. You know what I'm saying? Like, he been pastoring 20 years now, and he's 60 whatever he is. So, like, that pastoring, like, I don't think he's trying to take this to the grave. You know what I'm saying? Like, but he want the church to keep going. You know what I'm saying? But he ain't trying to like preaching every Sunday for years. I mean, I tip my hat to all these niggas, like all these pastors out here, man. That is some dedication. You know what I'm saying? And then including everything you got to do throughout the week. You know what I'm saying, or whatever like that. But and even training these people and teaching these people. You know what I'm saying? Like passing that torch, like that person got to do more than be able to just preach. You know what I'm saying? To tear the house down, they got to be able to lead, deal with personalities. You know what I'm saying? So on and so forth.
I know exactly what you're talking about. We talked about it on here before. People used to show up at my house 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. Right. Somebody in crisis, and you got to be there. You got to be like, okay, let's sit down. Let's talk about it,
And the bigger the ministry is, it's even deep. Because I remember when I was in Chicago for my auntie's, she got, like, I think they call it the elevation service. She became a deacon, but before that they had like a business meeting. Anybody can go in. They had an inner sanctuary. They were showing like the numbers and stuff for this church. This church probably about the same size as New Beginning, Full Gospel Baptist Church, but at its fullest, not the membership where it's at now, but at its height, like it's about that size. And they showing their numbers, 4.7 million that they brought in, last year from tithes and whatever else and blah blah blah. And I'm thinking, like, the person who you pass that to has to know how to deal with 4.7, you know what I'm saying, $1 million. You feel what I'm saying? Like, that's like, so it's not even just, once again, preaching. It's not even just, how saved you are, how anointed you are. Like, you got to even be able to, like, handle the business side. You feel what I'm saying? That torch is a very hot flame. You know what I'm saying? And whoever they pass it to can't just be anybody. Like, and even with what you were saying even earlier, Terry, about the process of, starting with the youth and then starting, you know what I'm saying? Like, having that building up process is necessary, because that person needs to understand every aspect of what is involved in that, in that role. And it's definitely more than preaching on Sunday, for sure.
Well, especially if you get into organized churches. And when I say organized, I mean like national churches. Like the Church of God is a national organization.
Right.
And not even on a local level, you usually have a board of trustees, or some kind of group that handles your funding, or because you can't just I've seen so many pastors just try to start a church, and because they think like, oh, tithes and offering and that'll keep the lights on, but that ain't going to be there every month. Sometimes you're going to have ups and downs and this and that. And, and you need that board of trustees a lot of the time to get you through those tough parts. And not, so now you gotta worry about dealing with the board. You got to worry about dealing with the members. You got to worry about the money. You got to worry about keeping the lights on. You got to worry about, and then at some point during all that, during the week, you got to figure out a time to sit down and write a sermon. So yeah, it's a lot. It ain't for everybody.
Right.
You know, a lot of people. I mean, me and Rudy at least know this just from being comedians. A lot of people think like, oh, I know some jokes. It's funny. I'll get up there and there's so much more that goes into being a stand up than just being like, oh, I'm funny at parties, so I'll go up there and it's like, no, man, it don't work like that. But people tend to oversimplify things in their head and be like, I could do that.
Would you, Janessa, would you have input? Let's just say like your dad's passing the torch to somebody and you don't necessarily agree. Would you have input? Like, would you like kind of, when I say step to him, not like step to him like that, but would you approach him and be like, yo, dad, that ain't it? Or would you just let him, let Piney Grove just just be at the fate of
You heard her before. She don't even like Piney Grove. She want to stay with her friends.
I would have a conversation with him. I wouldn't probably approach him like, Dad, he's not it. I'll probably approach him like, so what is it that you see in this person that you feel like would be, because maybe it's just a difference of perspectives. I don't know. And I don't want to come in guns blazing because I will never win. Okay.
That's
win.
That's that female intelligence right there. Just non-confrontational. It's just like, I'm going to put some breadcrumbs here and we'll see if you can follow them.
Or it's called effective communication.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to compliment your gender.
Effective communication. That's what it's called. Not
breadcrumbs. Some people might call it manipulation, but whatever.
Asking questions for clarity instead of assuming. I just gave you a few jewels right there.
What do you see in this person, Dad? What makes you think he's gonna? What would you describe his weaknesses as? Like.
Yeah, I would ask him.
Hey, I went to management school. I know.
So yeah.
Yeah. Would you you still go to Piney Grove, right? Right, dude. So would you I guess well, I don't want to ask that because I don't want to put nobody out at your church. I was gonna say, like, is there somebody off the top of your head, like if your dad passed the church to them, like you would definitely stay? But I don't want you to be like, it ain't nobody at our church. I'll stay for the next, and then they see listen, and you know what I'm saying? I don't want to ruffle no feathers, so I just leave that question alone.
Yes, leave the question. I don't even remember it. So
I'll answer that question. No, but then again, like you said earlier, Rudy, my situation's different. I was born to a pastor father, and he's my pastor. I go where I'm more of a disciple to him than anything else because he's my pastor 24/7. I got a problem. I got a question. I got a doubt. I got a this. I got a that. I know he's there 24 hours a day. He's a phone call away, So I'm fortunate in that way. And I think we all are kind of fortunate in that way. But yeah, I go where he goes.
Gotcha. Well, Terry, do you have your white church, black church comparison?
Oh, I do. And I just gave you that little potato salad thing last week, just a little amuse-bouche, just a little palate cleanser to start this thing off. But there's one thing I've wanted to talk about ever since I was 7 years old, and I went to my first black church with him when he was a guest pastor there.
Okay.
I'll never forget. It was in Deerfield Beach, Florida. It was right there on Dixie Highway. And before we even walked in the building, I was like, this is different because it's the music in white churches versus the music in black churches. We need to adopt that in every honky church across the country. Oh, so much fun. Even as a kid, I mean, everybody's excited, singing loud, clapping, dancing. Oh man, it was so much fun for me because where I came from, week to week, it was just open your hymnals to this page,
Mhm.
and we all just kind of sing lackluster. Bring in the sheaves, bring it, and it's so not fun.
I agree.
But if they would, I'm happy to say, in modern white churches nowadays, they are starting to catch on. But I'll say this: it went more of like a Christian rock kind of direction instead of like that gospel R&B. I mean, that fills you up. That gets you pumped. That gets you motivated. Which you need that motivation to get through the next 45 minutes to an hour of listening to somebody talk. You need that adrenaline boost, So if I was a pastor in a white church or a predominantly white church, that's what I would do. Get yourself a good choir, do some real gospel, get those arteries pumping.
Okay.
It's one of my most vivid memories as a kid.
Yeah. No, I got you. You. No, it's definitely different. So I believe you.
It's a big difference.
Oh, I know. I know. Okay. And Jeriana.
All right. Well, per norm on the struggle bus. So y'all getting some more real life from me. So today's gym jewel is be 1% better. So my fitness trainer, she's always telling us to be 1% better than we were at our last session. And she's always posting it on like her social media, be 1% better. And, I always just kind of thought of it as something you say just to be motivation, inspirational, whatever. But I did a little research on it. And it's like a whole theory. And essentially, if you, I guess the main points of this theory is if you are 1% better in a certain area every day for a year, by the end of the year, you will be 37 times better than if you did not make those improvements. And, me being a math nerdy science person, I was just sitting there kind of like, 1%, that don't seem like, that's too much.
Right.
And I was starting to think if you do 2%, 5%, 10%, how much further along or how better off or more improved your whole life could be. And I'm not saying you got to just hop off the porch at, I'm going to be 10% better every day. You might start off at 0.5%, 1%. But if you just do try to be 1% better every day, you are going to improve your life so much better in the long run. And so that's all I got for you today.
I'm telling you, this is becoming to be my favorite segment. This is
I feel like that was that was Proverbs right there. I needed to hear that. That got me a little bit right now.
Man, I'm telling you,
because I'm in this big transitional place and moving and changing and all this, and I'm like, all right, 1%, I can get down on that. Yeah. Like you kind of hyped me up there.
I'm glad I hyped you up because I'll be flying by the seat of my pants over here, and I don't really know. I don't know how it's gonna ever land. I'm not a comedian. I don't know how things are gonna land. And
comedians are the last people that know where anything's gonna land. We're a mess. Comedians are a mess.
Well, somewhat inspirational.
No, that was phenomenal.
It was. That was very good.
Well, shout out to Kellie Lee. You can look her up on Instagram, but you will not be able to officially follow her unless she accepts your request, which she normally does not. But either way, that's at Princess Kales 51. PRINCESS.
Send your prayers and well wishes for her illness. Okay.
Yeah,
she needs them.
She's in the bed.
Mm-hmm.
I can talk to her.
All right.
She's in the bed.
I bet she is.
Stop it. Don't do my friend like that. Don't do my friend like that. She is
Who's in the bed with her?
Well, you know what?
She
could turn off the camera and just listen and talk. That's fine.
You're not doing my friend like that.
All right.
But you can find me at JRihanna_. We have fun over there.
Big fun.
And I'm starting a campaign to bring back the coffee, tea, and brews.
Oh, melanated brews.
That's right, the melanated brews.
Well, I've been making my honey oat milk lattes every day for the past 2 weeks, and they are divine. So
there it is. See, y'all need this information. You can find me at Terry Wayne Comedy. I am going to be starting performing here in Nashville very shortly. I've talked to a couple people, so if you're in the Nashville area, come out and see me. All the shows are posted on all my social media, which is Terry Wayne Comedy. And also, you can get your copy of the book, Unclaimed Ashes. It is at Amazon right now. Get your copy. Read it. Don't read it. I don't care. Just buy it.
Please.
Use it to prop up your table. I don't care.
Maybe you should give a promo code. That's why nobody's bought it yet. Come up with a Worst Ones promo code. See if you get some more sale.
Okay. Yeah. Just enter the promo code Token Honky.
But you got to actually set it up, Terry.
I know.
If they type it in right now, it's still going to be full price.
Nah. Good. That's the point.
It's a promo code just to let me know that you bought it full price. Okay.
Get your copy while there's still plenty.
All right. All right. Well, like I said, shout out to Kellie in her absence. Hope she feels better. Thank you guys who listen to us each and every week. We appreciate you guys. We're back with the Worst Ones podcast. We'll see you next week. We out.
Top of the world.